Wake up, Toronto. Happy Thursday. What a week it's been so far. With the 30 centimeters of snow we got last weekend to now, all that's left is mounds of snow piles at the side of the roads. But the gorgeous sun was out yesterday, and today I'm looking out the window. It's beautiful. I saw some melting going on as well, so that was like a sign that spring is on its way. But then again, I think I spoke too soon because living in Toronto, it's hard to trust what the weather is we're going to get. Sometimes, I feel like starting up a bet with a group of my friends and kind of how they do in sports and just win me some money. There was supposed to be snowfall on Monday, but it never happened. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm trying to get my heavy down jacket into the washer, give it a good clean, get all of the faux fur fluffy again, because it's been through so much this winter and it just looks very gross. And I just want to store it away and be done with it until next winter. But guys, every time I make those plans on doing it, like this is going to be the day, we're given like an insane weather report warning with all these alerts coming out. And then I have to put it on hold. Not to say that the last storm we got last week was definitely the worst of the season, but very, very accurate. Like Environment Canada was releasing statements on the hour as the storm was progressing and making its way to southern Ontario, and so was the Weather Network. It was on it, but that's not always the case, because I was reading on Reddit of how Torontonians are so fed up with the weather reports because of the calls being all wrong. And some people are like, are these meteorologists half asleep when they're doing these tests? Or do they just decide as a group what they think the weather should be for the week? Who really knows? I mean, maybe they're just picking the weather out of a hat. But I'm hopeful, though, the worst is behind us and I can get my cute outfits for spring and summer ready to go. Also, happy International Women's Day, which was actually yesterday, and so many people were sharing posts of the women they look up to and admire. Many were shouting out their mothers, aunts, grandmas, co-workers. Celebrities were sending their inspiration out to others in the industry, so there was so much love flooding feeds, and it was wonderful to read through them and look at like the loads of quotes and pieces of advice that were also being shared on reels and statuses. And it was just amazing to read and see that elevation and support for each other. I'm very, very grateful for the DMs that came into me with such positive words, and knowing that as much as people out there have such a great life-changing influence on my life, that I'm somewhat impacting theirs too, however big or small it is. And that communication back to me makes me feel special and see that there is purpose to the stories that I'm sharing with my community and how I'm going about to change those narratives. I think International Women's Day, just like Valentine's Day or Mother's Day, it's supposed to be celebrated daily. It's a powerful mantra knowing that we can all unite and voice who we are and the things we believe in socially or privately with each other. I think, so often we may feel that there isn't enough room to belong somewhere or join in a movement, so we decide to blend in with the crowd, to be silent. But honeys, don't wait. It won't be done unless you take that first step. Nobody is psychic in that way to read your mind. So, go for it. Throughout my life, I have to say, there was a lack of girl love that I was noticing. Women would spew hate and negativity about each other, behind each other's backs, and be sweet to each other's faces. So that was just so wrong in so many ways. And the more you hang around people like that, you begin to pick up on their habits. And it's true what they say. You often imitate the people who you spend the most time with. Now, today, I see more and more women awakening, and they're choosing their circles, choosing to surround themselves with love and good vibes, and they're focusing on their well-being and mental health. They're prioritizing that. Now, friendships to them are more about quality than the quantity. So it's creating this authentic kind of circle of people that are true and honest and just all of those good things that make up an amazing relationship. Maybe it's just me in my 30s that I'm kind of tapping into this phase of my life. Perhaps maturity has a lot to do with these transitions, or it's just going through so much in my life and being able to experience all the options that now picking what I want or you want, it's easy peasy lemon squeezy. But what is so heartwarming to see is women fixing each other's crowns and not thinking about who will be the sole queen and fighting for that title, but recognizing that equally we're all queens in this world and ruling it together. Cheers to all of you strong, empowered, kick-ass women. May you always succeed and keep smiling. All right, guys, guess what time it is? It's movie time. So I got 2 very good recommendations that you all have to seriously check out if you haven't already. M. Night Shyamalan released his newest movie called Knock at the Cabin last month, not to confuse it with the horror movie Cabin in the Woods or Cabin Fever. So the basic synopsis is, while vacationing at a remote cabin in the woods, a young girl and her parents, they're taken hostage by 4 strangers who are armed, and they demand that this family make an unthinkable choice to avert the apocalypse. So it's very confusing for the family, and they're scared, and they don't have access to the outside world because they're trapped trying to make this difficult decision. And if they don't, they're limited with that time, right, before everything is lost forever. Now, for those of you who love end of the world movies, this is like a new take, but there is so much relevance of what's happening globally that it kind of makes you believe that this premise is valid and perhaps a possibility that it could happen. Throughout the movie, your emotions are toyed with, and it's hard to really know what the outcome is going to be. My husband and I were glued to the screen and listened literally to every word that was spoken, hoping to find clues. And we were on a mission to dissect basically the truth of this movie. A definite thrill, and we were invested right up until the end of the movie. We felt like it was just exceptionally executed. Everything just tied in so well, and I gotta say, 2 thumbs up. Go watch it now, guys. So that was Friday night's flicks. Saturday night's feature film was We Have a Ghost, and it also was released a similar timeline of M. Night Shyamalan's movie. Now, this one is available on Netflix. So director Christopher Landon, and you might be familiar with his other movies like Happy Death Day, which is like the repeating of the day over and over again to find the serial killer. And the other is Paranormal Activity, which was wildly successful. I think they have like 4 films. So the synopsis of We Have a Ghost is the family moves into this old, dilapidated home, and they discover that it's haunted by a ghost whose name is Ernest. And so the family get caught up in like the social media frenzy. And so Kevin, one of the kids in the movie, he becomes really good friends with Ernest, and they try to get to the bottom of this mystery of what Ernest's past is. And that causes all kinds of chaos, and they become targets of the CIA. And so I feel like This movie has all kinds of genres mixed into one. You've got a bit of comedy, a little bit of horror, gore, a small love story, action, of course, and there is some minor, like, foul language, so swearing in it. It might not be the best choice for younger audiences, maybe like 13 plus with parental guidance, but one thing I'm going to add is this did give me Casper the Friendly Ghost vibes, like the 90s movie. And so I checked out the trailer first before watching the movie, and the ghost who was like haunting the house wasn't scary at all. And I thought it was going to be like a full-blown comedy thing, but it wasn't. I did, however, and I'm going to admit this, bawl my eyes out throughout the movie. Like, I know it's totally fictitious and I was just getting emotional, but I have to say 2 thumbs up from me and my husband, which is collectively 4 thumbs. Like, if you're not grabbing a tissue and wiping your nose and eyes at the end of the movie, then you have a stone cold heart. But then again, I cried at the end of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, so there's that. I'm clearly too invested in these characters, which is like a 90-minute plus movie. Okay, wait, I'm going to take that back. That's not true. Even 30-minute intervals of TV shows get me very emotional. I mean, The Good Place with Kristen Bell was one of those shows where I'm like a hot mess, but then near the end of the series, I'm relieved and a bit calm to think that life after death wouldn't be so bad after all, and I want to sign up for that. Tomorrow, I have a new Scary Stories to Fall Asleep to releasing, and this one is about a girl who goes to Paris to pursue an education in fashion. She makes a best friend, and things are looking good for a while. That is, until a curfew hits the city, and she has to prepare herself to either drop out of school and go back home to New York, or get herself together and put all her fears aside and go after her dreams. So here's a sneak peek preview. Have a listen. I ordered a café con leche with a croissant because when in Paris, you have to try the flaky, buttery goodness. I paid for my things and I was heading out when I heard a man's voice call out to me. "Excuse me," he said. I turned around. It was a guy, tall, slim build, about 6 foot. He had black coiffed hair and green eyes. He was wearing a half-sleeve dress shirt with black dress pants and black loafers with a gold buckle and no socks. He had a deep voice. "Hi, sorry to scare you. My name is Finley." He had an English accent. "Are you enrolled at all in a fashion program?" Was this guy stalking me, I thought, but I answered with an uneasy yes. He said, "Me too. I'm going to the Paris American Academy." I told him that I was enrolled there too. We stood at the corner of the street chatting for a bit. "I actually saw you at the airport earlier," he said. "I had a feeling you might be a student." "What gave it away?" I said, my long top with leggings and heels accessorized with a headband. Or was it my hopeful, smiling face that movies portray when an actress is excited about a new journey she's going on? "Have you seen Legally Blonde?" I said. Finley laughed. "Seen it. My boyfriend and I love it. Elle Woods has the best fashion sense," he said. Of course, she could relax a little with the pinks. I asked Finley where he lived, and he said he was about 3 blocks away in an apartment. I looked at my watch, and I couldn't believe we'd spoken for over an hour. It was starting to get a bit chilly, and sunset didn't look like it would be too far away. I excused myself and told Finley I'd catch him in class in a few days. I sipped my coffee and walked away. Well, folks, that is a wrap on this week's segment. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you'd like a spot on the show to tell your story, it could be a business you run as an entrepreneur or something you're so passionate about that you just want to chat. We'd love to hear from you. Please send an email to suzannatv.tv@gmail.com with the subject line "special guest." Now, if you know someone who you'd like to nominate to be part of our next show, send us an email with a little blurb about them and how we can connect with them. Have an amazing weekend, you guys. Enjoy the sunshine. Much love from me to you. Mwah. Susanna, out.